Alright, what is up guys? Welcome back to another Zoids review. So this is one that I probably should have done a long time ago, and the reason that I didn't was because I had forgot that I didn't do it, which is interesting. So this is of course the Energy Liger, and we will get into exactly which version this is and the distinctions between the three versions. But the reason I didn't do this any sooner was because I purchased this from a wonderful collector in Canada who has a massive backlog of unbuilt kits, and so I bought this unbuilt inbox from him along with the Liger Zero X, and I built both of them. I did a little live stream in summer of 2020 shortly after buying the house where I built both of these. They've been sitting in my backlog for a few months at that point, and I just forgot to do the review, or I put it so far down in my list where I said, you know what, I really should bump that up because I have been leaving the box out so I can do the review for it, but I want to put the box away, so I might as well do the review. That way the box can go into storage and I can, properly continue to display this guy in the display case. So this is the Hasbro version, and this one I believe was a Toys R Us exclusive along with the Geno Breaker and the Seismosaurus, which means it's probably one of the more rare Hasbro kits. It's also a very large box. This box is almost on par with the size of the Iron Kong box. It's quite large. Quite a bit larger than the comparable Ligers of this era, but so is the Energy Liger itself. So there's three different versions of this kit, and I'll use this as a way to segue into talking about lore and anime as we talk about each individual version of the kit, because they are sort of representative of those differences. So the first one, released in 2003, is, I'll probably try to show a picture of it, is this nice red version here, released in the NJR Japanese line. And this one's color scheme more so ties into the battle story, where the Energy Liger is used as the personal Zoid of Wolf, who at this point was the Grand Emperor of the Neo-Xenobus Empire. This was his personal Zoid, and quite a good pick as well for your personal powerhouse of a Zoid. So it's a Liger. It is incredibly versatile and powerful, and has some real cutting-edge technology behind it. So in the battle story, the Energy Liger was sort of developed as the next phase above the prototype that was originally going to be the Liger Zero X, and they took that original concept and just evolved on it exponentially towards the end of the war. So this was put into battle against Ray Gregg, who at the time had the Liger Zero Falcon, and as per is the Fuser storyline, those two would be rivals. So that's the really nice red version there. And then we have this version, the Hasbro version, which, believe it or not, is not a re-release of the Japanese NJR Fusers version in the same colors. It is actually, this was actually retooled and released off of the original NJR version and released a few weeks prior to the release of the Fusers Japanese version. So there are some slight differences. And apparently the box art for this thing is not actually based on the real thing. It's based on a prototype. And I can't exactly point out to you the specific differences or things that are inconsistent about the box. But some of the noteworthy changes from this one that were not concise with the final product that they got in Japan for the Fusers line is mainly just some slight differences in the color. And then the caps are a different design and different color as well. Different style caps, sort of the opposite of what we had happen with the Wild line with the Wild Liger and all that. So those are the three distinct versions. So in order, it's the NJR 2003 version, the red version, then this Hasbro version, and then the NJR Japanese Fusers version in the same color scheme. This kit is also compatible with quite a few of different Fuser companions, including the assault set thing that goes with the Gariyuki. It's compatible with the Buster Eagle and whatever the Falcon is that goes on the Liger Zero Falcon. And I couldn't tell you exactly which pieces have to be removed or taken off in order for those Fuser companions to combine with this thing, because I don't own any of them, unfortunately. But hopefully one day I'll get a Buster Eagle, because I really, really want to combine the Buster Eagle cannons with the Gojulus Giga that I have, because my Gojulus Giga just feels naked without it, but we've already kind of talked about that. So this thing does make an appearance, of course, in the Zoids Fusers anime, where I'll never forget which episode it appears in, because this was the episode that was the final episode they debuted in America before the series was canceled. And it was where the episode ended on a cliffhanger with the appearance of the Energy Liger, and it quickly dispatched the Savage Hammer forces and also damaged the Liger Zero in the process, but sort of remained sort of an enigmatic rival, sort of a neutral Zoid to both factions throughout most of the series, up until later on, where its origins were never even properly explained, but allegedly it originated from the same project that led to the rise of the Garayuki and the Seismosaurus. This Zoid also famously appears in the Zoids Versus games, particularly Zoids Versus 2, known as Battle Legends, and Zoids Versus 3. And in Battle Legends, it is one of two of basically the ultimate Zoids in the game that are password locked. So you put in the password and you can purchase this for like 1,000,000 credits. In the tournament mode, the same thing with the Liger Zero Phoenix. Those two are considered the ultimate Zoids as far as the game is concerned, and while the Liger Zero Phoenix is a little bit better in overall performance, this thing is undoubtedly extremely powerful. So let's kind of talk about what this thing is capable of. So in addition to the fact that it's just a really big, really heavily armored Liger, it also has a lot of really interesting, innovative features that no other Zoid before it has had. So it has this weird experimental energy charger system that I guess is like an alternator that converts the power of the Zoid core itself into energy. And it's able to use that to not only power enhance its movement a little bit, so it's able to go a lot faster than most Zoids of its size, but is also able to power its two weapons. So its two weapons are this double-barreled energy cannon right here, which is extremely powerful and has some slight homing capabilities as well in Battle Legends, which makes it very accurate at hitting lots of targets because it has a slight degree of tracking to it where the projectiles follow their target. And then over here is the Energy Vulcan, which is a rapid-fire energy weapon that can destroy just about anything. And then also it has these nice translucent blade wings up here, and they are also powered by the same energy system. And so how that sort of manifests on the model kit itself is with this weird air compressor thing that is combined with the motor. And since I built this unbuilt and it was still in its original plastic in the box, these rubber hoses are intact, but I've heard from some people, including my friend Brad, that own this kit, that older specimens of this kit that have not been well maintained, these rubber hoses that are on the side here, you can't really see it too well in the video, on the side here that connect to the weapons, as well as on the back here to connect to the air compressor, have disintegrated throughout time. So getting an intact specimen like this is probably going to continue to be harder and harder as the years go on. And while I typically don't put batteries in these things to show off the motorized functions, I do kind of want to talk about what happens here. So there's these plastic sort of rubber membranes right here that expand and contract with the air pump. And of course there's like some cylinders on the inside of the back of the head here where the air compressor goes. I'm assuming that powers up when the motor is on. There's a switch that goes back and forth here, which I'm not quite sure what the switch does. But what's interesting is you can kind of move the wings out to the side here, and there's a piston down here that sort of keeps that stable, and they can move out all the way out to about here, which looks pretty cool. And allegedly in the lore, it does give the Zoids some mild gliding capabilities, which is pretty cool. But I don't think that these are used as bladed weapons. It would be pretty overpowered if they were. But there is a button back here to release the air pressure. So notice how I have these fully extended like this, and the little membranes are fully extended. So if I push this down, it will release the air pressure, and the pistons will contract. And I think that's really cool. Now, granted, that's probably child's play compared to what that does when the motor is on, but I just think it's really, really cool. This thing probably has pretty powerful melee capabilities as well, because it's got this rather silly unicorn horn, but I imagine it's a pretty effective melee weapon. Like, you literally have a jousting spear on your forehead as a lion type Zoid, so I imagine that's pretty strong. And just the color scheme on this guy just looks so badass. I will never forget how disappointed I was that Fusers canceled immediately after this thing debuted, because I just remember thinking it was one of the coolest Zoid designs that's ever been made. And it does hold up pretty well. You know, black and red and silver is always a really great combination you can't go wrong with. But I also really, really love the red version, which I believe my friend Brad does own. So I will be able to bring you guys a video of that kit at some point. And like I said, there are some slight nuances and differences between this English Hasbro version and the Japanese Fusers version of the same color scheme. And I'm not in perfect encyclopedic knowledge of what those two different, what the big differences between those two are, unless I had two specimens of them in front of me. So let's go ahead and do a side-by-side comparison just for size really quick with the Liger Zero X, and you'll see just how much, as I collide with the ring light here, you'll see just how much bigger the Energy Liger is. So in terms of height, it's similar. Actually, the head rests a little bit lower on the Energy Liger here, and actually I didn't even show off the cockpit, which opens up just a little bit back there, which I think is pretty cool. So the pilot is well concealed back there, so just the top fin pops up for the cockpit. So the central like head piece is down here, which is not compromised on detail at all because of where it's placed. And yeah, in terms of height, the two are similar, but the Energy Liger is much wider, much longer, and just has a lot more protrusions coming out of it. So the Energy Liger is a big old boy, but I think I'm actually going to display these two side by side next to each other in the display case. I had the Burning Liger from Zoids Wild Senki next to the Energy Liger, but I just now decided I think the Liger Zero X deserves its place next to it. That's pretty much it for this video, unfortunately. Like I said, if I had the batteries in there, I would definitely show off the reciprocating barrels as they reciprocate back and forth like that, which I just, again, is so cool. They put that level of interactivity in this thing, and then the Vulcan barrel spinning as well. But you guys can kind of see that stuff even without me putting the batteries in there. I just make a habit to never put the batteries into the kits that I get nowadays. And it looks like, according to the box, either that's because of the prototype versus the real thing, or I have the Vulcan gun attached a different way than how it attaches on the picture there. Either way, that's an interesting little discrepancy there. So anyway, that is pretty much going to do it for this one. If you guys are looking for one of these, good luck. They're getting a lot more rare and expensive, and especially the Japanese versions. I think that this one right here, the Hasbro version, is most likely your best bet, the most common one that you can find. And to me, there's not really anything too substantively different between them to where I would spend the extra money to get one of the Japanese ones. But if one of those red ones was put in front of me, I would definitely be tempted, because it does look absolutely sick, but I'll probably never own one for my own collection. So got a lot of other Zoids in the backlog, a lot of smaller wind-up and motorized Hasbro kits that I want to go ahead and do reviews on. I'll probably do some 2-for-1 reviews, do 2 wind-up Zoids in the same video, just to kind of get through more of them more quickly, and have some longer videos where we talk about more than one Zoid at a time, just in case it's a Zoid that doesn't have a whole lot of screen time in the battle story or the anime. We get to actually talk about it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.